All right, I'm recording now, and we're going to kick it off with some theme music, and off we go in 3, 2, 1. Why isn't it playing? Oh, we are on the wrong tab. There it is.
We're boop now.
We're doing boop, yep. All right, here we go, for real, in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Core, everybody. It is Core, the video game podcast that talks about all sorts of stuff around the world of video games. Games we play, games we want to play, consoles, news, all that stuff. It's Wednesday, September 30th, the last day of the month. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger, and we are diving right in to some big talk this week. Actually, it's a little slower.
Let's dive.
It's a little slower than last week. You know, not a lot going on. Not big stuff anyway. In fact, we're not even going to talk. I mean, we could talk a little bit about how CD Projekt Red said last year in an interview that we're going to stop having crunch at our company. And then this week, a memo got leaked internally saying to all of their employees, everybody do crunch because the game's almost out. So that's a bummer.
I thought about putting it on the list of topics today, but honestly, like, here's the crappy thing, right? Because the stance is, yeah, we don't like that developers have to crunch. That's a shitty practice. That's rough.
Right.
That's bad. At the same time, we're all very excited for Cyberpunk, and I don't think it's going to move the needle at all on whether or not we buy Cyberpunk, so we can't even really take a big, strong stance, or at least I don't think so.
Yeah.
I want to talk for the two of you and say, like, I'm not going to buy it because they said no crunch, and now they're crunching.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, our stance hasn't changed. It isn't like Cyberpunk did it, and we're like, oh, well, now we're okay with crunch. Like, great, let's do it.
Yeah. So, and also, it's not like they didn't. I think that they probably legitimately tried. I think at some point it just doesn't. At some point, every business, this is going to be controversial, okay? But every company I ever worked for, we had crunch.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
I got
my
you.
last job had it.
Bo's got me covered. Yeah, your last job had it. My last job absolutely had it. And there were some work till 4 a.m. nights for me when we were getting ready to push out a final project. Sometimes it would be me having to do a presentation until all hours of the night and do it all weekend. Like, crunch is a thing that everyone wants to just apply to video games, but it's rampant everywhere. Go ahead, Bo.
Everyone listening, it's like, God, this is not controversial. Do you like movies? Do you like going to the theater?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys wake up at ungodly hours to do their work, and we don't say squat about it.
Right.
And people who work in that realm, like, go through periods of work and then rest and work and then rest.
Right.
And all that to say is just, you're right. You can't avoid periods of crunch.
Right.
The problem is not the crunch.
No, the crunch.
You know, the headline is crunch. Everyone takes crunch. There's crunch. Crunch. Cancel CD Projekt Red. And, you know, it's like, chill out, because anything like that, anything you loved, all those great movies that you love, books that you've read, like, people worked on that like madmen, you know, and that it's managing it and it's being humane to your employees. It's not eliminating crunch.
Right. I agree.
And
I totally agree. It's all about, like, are you paying them appropriately for whatever extra time they're giving? Are you doing it evenly? Are there executives that just show up at 9 and leave at 4 and say, I'm going golfing, have fun, programmers who will be here all night? Like, what are your standards as a company to take care of your employees, to create a good working environment? And also, video games are famous for this other thing, because there's not a lot of unionization going on, and that is to say there is none. But they'll do a giant project. It can even be a very successful one, launch and do great, yet they lay off half the team or more because, well, we're done with, especially crunch employees, people that were there only kind of because they kind of had to double up at the end or whatever, and then they're out of there and they're out of a job and have to go somewhere else. Those kinds of practices, those are things they can work on. They can actually work on those things, improve all that stuff, and also just better managerial systems, better systems of like dealing with management needs, which is like, we got to please our freaking shareholders and we got to do this, but also figure out a way to balance that better with everybody behind the scenes. Those steps are what I'm interested in, because if the goal here is to make it so that every video game or any project on the planet launches exactly at the time you wanted it to, with exactly the amount of work hours you meant it to have, with exactly the amount of problems and or lack of them that you plan to have, you're living in a freaking dream. It doesn't exist. That's not possible. These are complex systems with a lot of complex stuff, a lot of hands involved, a lot of people involved. So I don't think you can eliminate crunch. What you can do is eliminate the periphery of crunch, which is bad company practices, bad managerial decisions, unfortunate pay structures, like that kind of stuff can get tweaked. And maybe they are. I don't know what CD Projekt Red is doing. I don't know what Polish law is like. I don't know much about anything with their development scene, but I really hope that that's what they're working on. It's just too easy to sum this all down to they're making everybody work till, they're working 24 hours a day and sleeping in the office. I mean, that's all we hear in our heads, and we don't have the bigger picture. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying this exists. I don't care what business you're in. There's crunch in everything. You're a new hospital. You're a hospital administrator. You're launching your brand new hospital. There's crunch to get everything ready on time.
I mean, imagine the crunch because of the pandemic. Who's up in arms about making sure doctors and nurses dealing with the pandemic aren't getting crunched? Anybody care about that? No,
Yeah.
Thank you, essential workers. That's all anyone says.
Right.
Crunch away. You're amazing.
Right.
Like, there's a balance. It's about how we treat each other, and it's not about that the amount of hours they're working in a week. Some people like to work 40 hours. Some people are perfectly willing and be passionate about a project and see it through and put in the extra time.
Yeah, like Satan Slurpee. Sorry, that's a great name, by the way. Says maybe they shouldn't announce launch dates so far in advance. I mean, this is what I'm describing to you. If you're not going to do that, you may as well announce them at all, because you can only mitigate it so much. Like when they announced their first release date, which they've missed now, this is the third. We've had 3 delays, I believe. Pretty sizable delays on this game.
I think minimum 3.
Yeah, and the game's development started in like 2012 or some before The Witcher was out. They were
yeah. There was also a weird gap where we didn't hear anything. Like, remember, I think we saw a teaser before Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right.
It was like, look, here's Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
the teaser. I actually watched some info. The teaser. It was not actually a teaser. It was a teaser, but they weren't making the game. They were thinking about making the game, and they put out the teaser to see if people would be interested.
Right.
And they got a good response, so they went ahead.
Because everybody.
But if they didn't get a good response, they would have dropped it.
Right. They were going to not do it. So here's the way to look. You need to. Okay. Let me back this truck up. Things like this are complicated. It involves hundreds, sometimes thousands of people. Sometimes those people are contracted. Sometimes they're in-house. Sometimes it's a mix, and all this sort of stuff. And again, this can apply to almost any business. We'll keep it in video games. The idea that you could say, all right, we've been at this for 6 years. We think in 12 months we can ship. We can gold master in 12 months. That's based on not just them at a whim going, let's do it. It's them making decisions strategically based on what they know. All right, how far along are we? What is left? What does dude in charge of art department say about that? Well, he thinks 6 months. Okay, good. That gives us a buffer. Like, imagine the meetings. Imagine the conversations. It's not hard if you try. You imagine all that stuff, and you just see that it's a complex thing. It's a jumble. And so to just simply say, well, don't announce the release dates then. If you're not sure, that's too simple. You're just overly simplifying. I'm not going after Satan's spaghetti or whatever his name is. What is it? Satan Slurpee.
That's that Eminem song he named himself after?
Yeah, I'm
right?
going after Satan spaghetti. No, I'm not going after you, but I'm just going after that point, that idea that we can just simplify this and boil this down to this little reductive concept that you're just putting out a thing.
It's such big business now. Like, it's not just that, this game is going to come out on October 15th. It's now, this game's going to come out on October 15th. So for the next 3 months, we need to make sure we have marketing out there that's publishing October 15th on all of its marketing. We need to record commercials that are going to list that as the date. We need to talk to Dr. Pepper to make sure that our figures are printed on their cans so that they can redeem codes for DLC. Like, whether you like it or not, because I do think most of that stuff is pretty stupid, like, that's the engine. Like, we need to have our Doritos advertising the newest Modern Warfare game. And we need to make sure that when you open those Doritos and you get a code, there's a game out at that time that you can put that code into. Like, it's now touching so many other areas that like release dates are no longer just like, well, it's ready when it's ready and we can go ahead and put it out. There's now a whole business around that, connecting to other completely separate businesses that have to be considered.
Right.
So it don't have to be, because again, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I hate that stuff. Okay, well, you can hate it, but it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, and it's also, there are plenty of people that like it, where they wouldn't do it. Like, it's a numbers game, and they know where their bread's buttered. Now, could they do better at the thing Satan Slurpy's getting to here? I'm sorry, that name is making me laugh every time I say it. I'm going to stop saying it. I really like your name. I'm being legitimately, I really actually like it. Anyway, that's making me lose my train of thought.
Oh, well, I don't.
Okay, here we go. Like, Nintendo has recently done a thing that I think is admirable, but again, I don't know any of the behind the scenes, so this is purely based on the surface of it. But we didn't even know there was a Paper Mario game coming out until, 3 weeks before, because that's when it got announced. I kind of like that. Yeah. As much as I like to hear about a thing and then wait on every word and check all the posts and updates and be on the Reddit and everything and wait months and months and months for a thing to come to fruition, like a Diablo 4 or whatever, just can't wait, more info, keep feeding it to me sort of thing. There's some value in that from an excitement standpoint. But coming out with a brand new game, and they did this with the Mario stuff too, like the anniversary stuff. It's like, oh, by the way, next week there's a triple pack of 3D Mario games coming out. And forget about all the other stuff like it's limited time and all that. Just this idea that, oh, it's ready, and there's literally no time in between when we told you and when you're going to get it, and there's not going to be a delay because it's only 3 weeks. Like, here it is. Now they've had other problems where, like, they've had games get delayed. They had Animal Crossing got delayed. You could argue that was kind of a good happenstance, because when it came out, people needed it. Because it came out right in March, right when things got weird in this country and other countries. But the idea is, like, if you can keep it under wraps, not have a bunch of leaks happen, so you can control the message, which is really hard these days. But if you can do that, and you can hold it right up till the edge, in a game like a AAA game like Cyberpunk, maybe that doesn't work because they need to show you early. They need to come to an E3 and say, all right, here's what we've got so far. Here's how it looks. Because then we all go, ooh, it's not the kind of thing you can do 3 weeks in advance. Whereas like Paper Mario, you kind of know what you're going to get. Okay, it's Mario, it's Nintendo, and there's a certain level of quality we'll expect, and we're sure it'll hit that and maybe exceed it. With Cyberpunk, you have to spread it out more. So maybe if they were more done before they started that process, like, there's possibilities. I just don't know. I don't know how much leeway they have.
The Nintendo thing also might have to do. I imagine a lot of their programming is done in Japan, and there's a big cultural difference between, American and North American, let's say, employees and Japanese, right, with their shame and sense of honor and stuff like that. Like, it's like here, if there's a disgruntled employee, maybe he's leaking some stuff for whatever reason. He's slighted, whatever. I don't know if that's as much a thing in their culture.
Right.
Maybe the games are made here and I'm completely wrong, but I have this sense that a lot of it, I think if you're an American developer, the rules of the game are a little different for you than game development in other countries.
Yeah, I think there's an element of like, that's a luxury Nintendo might have. Not for all their properties, but definitely for something like Paper Mario is a really good example. Like, they're going to make the game they're going to make. Like, Paper Mario is going to be Paper Mario. They're not going to put that game out and show it and go, we're thinking about doing this weird mechanic where you rotate the level and line guys up, and it's not going to really be turn-based. It's going to be kind of like a little puzzle game, and have people go, that's dumb, don't do that, and then go, oh, you don't like it? Okay, let's change that. Like, you're going to just get what you're going to get.
Right.
Whereas even a company like Blizzard with Diablo 4, where you could say, hey, they've made 3 really good Diablo games. They could probably be a company that just goes, Diablo 4, it's out, enjoy. But no, like, the fans want to have feedback. They want to see that those systems come out. They want to see the drip feed. They want to be a part of it. And I think Blizzard encourages that too. So I think the like sudden game drop is a luxury that only certain companies, and I'd even argue certain games within that universe can have.
Also certain levels too. Like, I remember, I think someone just brought it up in the chat, but at E3 2014, was it? I think Todd Howard got up and said, guess what? Like, we hadn't heard anything about it up to that point. They were like, we're making Fallout 4 and it will be out this fall. And oh, by the way, here's a free mobile game. Here's that weird management, Fallout. What was it called? Fallout
Shelter.
And that was a pretty powerful thing because you can do that on the name alone. You can say there's a Fallout game coming out and it's coming out November in less than 6 months. And if you can hit that mark and have it not be a buggy nightmare, that's awesome. Like, I don't know how much crunch that involved. It may have involved a ton for all I know. I don't know, but they did it, and it gave people an expectation where they went, oh, okay, cool. So the next time they did this, where they said, hey, Fallout 76, and it's coming out this fall, everybody got really jazzed about it, but 76 launched buggy as a monster with all kinds of problems. It's really in good shape now, by the way, and it's now a Microsoft property and even playable on Game Pass, but they kind of got around where they wanted to be with that game. But the point is, like, it doesn't work every time. And unless you can guarantee it works every time, I don't know how you do it. Like, you can't do it consistently. Nintendo's different. I think part of what Bo says is true. It's
hang on. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What happened? I think we can't really cite Japan as some kind of example in the crunch conversation because I think the country itself is like crunch. like I've watched some documentaries about like the sadness of work life there. They are expected to work like crazy amounts of hours and suffer shame and humiliation for not doing it. So they don't have crunch problems because everyone there believes in crunch, basically, like in all industries. So, like if the boss wants to stay late for work and go for a drink, it's a big issue if you don't go out for drinks with them. So if you have a boss, it's not just crunch, but just the involvement of work life is like really a big imposition on their work life balance.
Do you think they're that's why there's so much bad anime? Because they work too hard. Do you think that's what's going on there?
I mean, I don't know if that's why it's bad. Maybe, but it's.
I'm trying to find the A to B on that.
A lot of sad people working on things probably doesn't make the best products. So
that's why. I just got it. That's why there's always a really sad emo protagonist in every JRPG, because some sad guy who just finished a 900-hour shift has no life and slept at the office.
I mean, they make their cartoons for them, not for us. So we watch them and they're weird and different and don't relate to our life experience. It's to be expected. Because they are different. They have different culture.
Sure.
So I don't know that I would say Nintendo's some shining beacon. I think they have closed doors and we don't know what goes on in there, and they like it that way. Because then we make assumptions about how great they are because their products speak for them, not their business practices, which is the problem that we're trying to shine a light on.
Right.
That there are institutional problems, but you're correct. We're all correct in saying like it's not just gaming, but the nature of the business, like movies, like theater, like whatever else, is you're not making revenue. Like you're purely crazy cost.
Right.
And that's got to come to an end some point, and money's got to start rolling in. And when you see like half done games and all that, it could be because that's all they budgeted for. There's nothing else. They're red, critical, whatever. They can't go any further. They got to earn some revenue.
Right.
So Marvel Avengers gets released. Like at a certain point, it's all cost and it's got to come out. And they set a date as well. Like even if they don't publicly announce it, they set a date because they budgeted the amount of expense that the project's going to cost. Yeah. And they're not earning any revenue on it. And if they don't make sequels, then it's like driving a car off a lot. That property loses value tremendously. Like after the first few weeks, and someone writes a crap review about it, and then they try to make their money back by putting on sale for $10 and hoping for an influx of cash to fund their future projects. The reason crunch is there is because they need to make that date, or the game doesn't get released. No one has a job.
Right.
And I'm sure if we actually talk to some business managers there, that would be the case. Now, for the big company, I mean, the thing is, it's just fairness. Like they have people that are paid exorbitant salaries. A lot of these companies, not alone. Just look at any company. So it's not an exclusively game development problem. But the nature of the business, if I had to guess, because I don't work in it, is that they're not generating revenue. It's expensive, and if it goes over, they're not maximizing profits. or they may not even making profits. They may actually release some games just to recover cost. If they get 60% of their investment back and take 40% loss on their budget, that's the business they're in. And then if you go into game dev, you have to be realistic about, if you work on a game and you're super passionate about it and the public isn't feeling it and it loses money, everyone loses jobs. This is not some place where year over year they can consistently rely on people buying milk and bread. So there's ups and downs and things that happen in the industry, but there's always revenue. If you're making bread, people always want bread. But people will make, I Am Bread, the video game, and no one wants to buy it, and no one has jobs anymore. Like that's the nature of the industry, and I don't think you could change it unless you move every game to a subscription-based model. Enter Microsoft,
or everybody has a Mike Morhaime to personally fund the thing, which had to come.
That's why it was make Blizzard special. Even if you don't like their games, that's what makes them special. They have the audacity to cancel stuff that other companies would just put out to recover what they could and tarnish their integrity of their brand.
Yeah,
and then they release it when it's done because they want it to be awesome.
Well, that's true.
But definitely take a hit on profit.
There were times, there's that famous story about Morhaime having to pay all payroll. This is way long ago, though, like Warcraft 2 era or prior to that. Had to pay everybody's salary with his credit cards because he had no other way to pay them, and it was really important to him to make sure everybody got paid. But they were basically running on fumes. Now he's in this position with Dreamhaven to say, which we talked a ton about last week, so we don't have to talk about it again. But now he's like, well, let's remove that one obstacle. Let's take away that one thing that we all bang our heads against, which is the money and the time and the desire to do it right. They're not always in harmony, and he can put them in harmony because he's just flipping the bill. But let's be honest, he can't flip the bill without a 24-year career at Blizzard, where he had those rough stages and made it through those, got out, and got paid. You know what I mean? So it's not even like you can look at that and go, that's how video game development should work. No, he had to do the other thing first. This is a luxury that he gets to do this. Other people can't do it, even small teams. So anyway, for a subject we didn't even put in our notes, we have sure had a conversation about it. I can tell you.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't put it in the notes, because I figured we'd land right about there.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And never forget
John's... That's why we're not going to talk about it this week.
Never forget John's face.
Yeah, that's right. We're not talking about it this week. Let's move on.
I'm never going to forget John's face, though, when I said that's why there's so much bad anime, because there was a certain look to your eye, like... Yeah. Now wait a minute.
Yeah, this is a bad show for you on the anime front, because you like to crap on it, and both me and John are a little like.
I kind of like it too.
We have our otaku, or what's the term? Like we have our little obsessions and favorites here, and we're always like, well, we'll give Scott a pass. We love the man, but I'm just like,
you guys have got you guys have your waifus and all, or whatever all that is. That's totally fine. I'm also a fan of some anime. So when I do this, it's always teasing. I'm always kidding.
I know.
Yeah, but also there are a lot of downtrodden emo protagonists.
It's just I think then what it is we often hear about the things you don't like, but not a lot about the things you love.
Oh yeah, no, I should talk more about those. I love Cowboy Bebop, for example. I love that show. It's one of my favorite things I ever saw.
It's real good.
Yeah, I'd watch it again all the way through. That's a very cool thing.
Would you watch more anime if they made an edited version that had all the things you like, the uncle, like if they just cut it out, like it was clearly cut out, but you're like, this is still better.
Do you like when they do the Star Wars prequel edits where they take out all the stuff no one likes? Maybe. I know. See, the stereotype is just so. But okay, here's a fun game discussion about anime. I came to this close and might still do it to picking up Nier Automata.
I saw that tweet. And
I saw this discussion, and I was really enjoying watching you go back and forth with people I respect the opinions of who differ.
Well, a bunch of them have said I'm crazy.
Played Nier Automata.
Oh, you did? Did you play the whole thing? How'd you feel about that game?
I haven't played all of it. I've played a little bit of it. Game was uglier than I expected it to be. I started playing it and I was like, this is a new game and it kind of looks like a PS2 game. But I think that game has some very, very cool ideas. And I think that game has a very cool story and a very cool world. people who are telling you you may not like the anime stuff are not leading you astray. There is anime stuff in there.
Yeah.
But there's also really cool stuff that I think you would dig. Like even some stuff that is anime tropes, like near the beginning, like you're just flying and you're flying towards like what looks like this giant oil rig. And then that giant oil rig is just a giant freaking robot that comes to life and starts attacking you.
That sounds
and
great.
It's basically this huge oil rig robot just throwing punches and stuff. That sort of stuff I think you would find very, very cool. I think a lot of the like non-anime girl robots you would be way into, but you are engaging with this cool world as a cutesy anime robot girl. Now she's not doing, I don't know, she's not doing typical anime things that I know you don't like, but you know, you got to deal with that.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. What you just said about how ugly it was or is, that's throwing me, because part of the reason I'm drawn to it is the art style. Because every time I see it, I'm like, oh, look at this wastelandy business with, you know, ruined cities and it's kind of white sand and just, I love that stuff.
You'll love all that. It's just, it looks a little, I don't know, it looked like somebody put a blurry filter on it a little bit.
Okay.
It was a minor thing. I was able to get over it pretty quick, but when I first started playing it, I was like, how old is this game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's recent. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I still can't decide. It's only $20, but
just get it. Yeah, just get it. Try it. Worst case scenario, you return it.
There's the typical John. That's John coming out. That's the John I know. Just get it. Just buy it.
Just get it.
Pick it
just
up.
Try it.
All right. Well, I'll let people know what I end up doing with that. Let's get to some Xbox Series X news. A bunch of people got a hold of them. They aren't playing any next-gen games currently because that's not what's being sent to them, but a whole bunch of influencers / games journalist types ended up getting Xbox Series X first impressions models and did videos about them and write-ups and everything else. And so far, again, they're just, you know, checking back catalog and features and services that are built into the UI and all that other stuff. But so far, the reviews are pretty good. Like, pretty solid. Yeah.
Biggest thing that people seem to be taking away is the load times. They're mentioning things like, hey, this game took over a minute to load on the Xbox One, and now it's taking 10 seconds. You know, like they're pretty excited about it.
Legit speedy. What do they call their thing? Velocity engine drive thing? Sony's got a similar plan with their SSD architecture, but it's that, right? Where it's due to that speedy drive thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's the SSD technology and all of that.
Right.
I got Xbox Series X news.
What? Did you find one?
I have one.
You bastard! How did you do that?
So remember I told the story last week. I don't know if it was on the pre-show or if we actually did it on the show, but I talked about getting approved for credit through GameStop, and that prevented me from pre-ordering it anywhere else. Well, I eventually got an email from GameStop going, hey, we understand we might have authorized you for a credit line for a system we didn't sell you. So we're going to make sure you get one of those systems. So
nice.
They said, if you're still interested and you didn't get it somewhere else, respond to this email. And I did. And then just before the show, they sent me a new link to go to kind of confirm that it was the right credit application, and then reorder the thing. Got it. It's going to be delivered to my door on launch date, according to the email.
Damn, dude, that's great.
Awesome.
Well
I'm
done.
happy for you.
I am too. I was,
and I'm not shocked. GameSpot needs to survive, man. Like they're giving us money and we can't take it.
Right.
Fix it.
Right. Yeah. Talk about your crunch. They're crunching on keeping your money.
Oh,
That's what they're doing. Well, congratulations. What I was hoping is you're like, I found this link and there are like 8 of them left, and here's the link, Scott, before we give it to you back.
Oh,
that's what I was hoping.
I wish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If anyone out there finds more, anybody finds a way, finds a method. I didn't do that whole application thing, or else maybe I'd have gotten the same deal. And I also avoided GameStop. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have been.
I waited in their stupid line. That rumor is it was just a automatic refresh page after 12 seconds was the code for it.
Yeah.
It was just them trying to keep you from hitting refresh on their website nonstop, which is smart. You know, Tell people like, hey, if you hit the refresh button, you're going to lose your place in line. Get everybody to not hit refresh and then just slowly let.
I mean, that's like it's because they could DDoS themselves.
Yeah,
like that's they gotta do. They gotta do that.
They could DDoS themselves, but you don't want to have happen. Well, all right, that's awesome. What's the release date again? November 12th, 10th?
10th sounds right.
I think the 10th's right. Sony's is the now I forget. They're after, but only by
the truth is I'm excited for it, but there's nothing coming out day one that I'm like, oh, I got to get that. I'm more excited for what it's going to do for the household, for the family, for the ability to play games with the kids and with my PC and
you're gonna have a
all
massive
of that stuff
library
that we talked about. That's what I'm excited about. But I don't know if there's like a killer app that I'm like, yeah, and then I'm gonna get this game.
I guess we'll see after actual launch lineup happens if something jumps out. But I think mostly, minus a Halo Infinite, which is no longer there for launch anyway. It's gonna all be about the back catalog and a gigantic wad of games that you'll be playing because you got Game Pass. So. That'll be interesting. And those load times sound mighty tasty to me. So looking forward to that. Among Us had a sequel going. This is that took the internet by storm and everyone streams it now. And somehow a game that's a few years old is now having a resurgence of like no one's ever seen. It's really weird to see that game do what it's doing. However, they had a sequel in the works and they've canceled it to allow more focus on the original. One would assume, improve it maybe graphically because I think that game is ugly as shit. But anyway, whatever. It's not meant to be anything special, so it's okay
fine.
for what
it's
it is.
It's got a quirky little style.
It's fine. It's all right. Anyway, this reminds me. I mean, not that we're not Fortnite levels of popularity quite yet, although it's pretty damn popular. But this reminds me when Fortnite took off after they added the Battle Royale thing. And then their original game mode just got lost in the mix. Like it was just like, yeah, the against the world thing, it's there, but we're not really focused. They're not really focused on that anymore. And that's what this feels like. So, hey, man, you grease whatever wheel is squeaking, and Among Us is squeaking. So
I knew we were gonna get there because one of the kids came up to me and was like, "Can we play Among Us?"
Yeah.
And I had to go, wait, what's Among Us? Hold on.
You know what it sounds like? One of those Square Enix like visual novel games. If you don't know what it is,
Let me tell you about the war.
Yeah.
Like it sounds so serious, and then I look it up, and it's these doofy little astronaut people, and I was like, oh right, I do know what this game is. And then I told them no, because Chad is very prominently featured in that, and we don't want them chatting online with strangers.
Plus, it can be pretty toxic. Also, I can't play that game, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't like deceit simulators, and I understand why. This thing is like brushing up against a very human thing, and it's making I guess it's like anything. We have a tendency as a species to be violent, yet we try to suppress that and protect each other and other life and that sort of stuff. But we love to get it out of our system in a video game with a freaking assault rifle and take out 50 dudes in a base I want to capture.
I've got a story about deceit games.
Do you really?
Oh,
Hold on, Bo. Can we
I'm kind of excited,
can I play this? It's time for the Bo Zone with Bo Schwartz. Okay, Bo, take us on a trip about.
Okay, now I may have oversold it.
No, go for it.
One of my favorite board games to play of all time is Battlestar Galactica. Have you played it?
No, never played it. Knew about it.
So it's based on the modern TV show. So it has Adama and all Gaius and all the characters you remember. And you can play as them, right? And then you get dealt cards that either say you're human or a Cylon, and you hide them under your character card. And then it's a cooperative game. You play to beat the board game. You don't play against each other, except for the Cylon. So there's really two teams, but you don't know who the Cylon is. And it's just like the show. As the game progresses, you traverse the galaxy, and things happen. And the way that you can mess things, basically, when challenges come up, you can play cards face down to help beat the challenge. But the Cylon's going to put bad cards in it, and they get shuffled, and you find out whether or not you defeat the challenge. So I was playing at work with we had a board game sort of enthusiastic thing at a previous job, and there was a new employee there, and he was newer, and but he was, I was a manager, the other person was a manager, this person was just a regular, whatever you want to call it, rank and file, and at one point, and so Al is the friend, oh crap, I forget his name to tell the whole story. But anyways, Al is the manager of this employee, and we get to a point where there's just three of us left in the game, and I'm Gaius, and I am the Cylon, and he gets to a point where me and Al are looking at this employee who's new, and we're both trying to convince him that we're not the Cylon, and he's wanting to pick one to throw out of the airlock, and he deliberated for 10 minutes. I lied so hard that I got him to throw Al out the airlock. And after the game was done, he was like, I could tell that I had actually maybe shouldn't have done what I did. I think he felt so manipulated because I put such an effort in convincing him that I wasn't the Cylon, that I actually became a little scared of myself as a result.
Yeah.
Because I am a very capable liar, as it turns out, and that knowledge was, when I say you learn things about yourself in games, I was like, holy shit, like, because there's that dynamic too. We're all just having friends or dudes, but I'm like, no, your manager is lying to you. I know Al very well, and I know when he's lying, and here's the logic of why he's lying, and I expounded it. This is like an IT professional, smart guy. Mm-hmm. And I expounded it to such an extent that Al, the proper human, got thrown off the airlock. And there's a part of me that's so satisfied because that's, what the Cylons are trying to do. And I won.
Yeah.
But it does pose problems for your friendships and your associations. Yeah. But I still love playing those games, but God, is it a rough ride for everyone else.
I had a similar incident because I played one. I don't remember the name of it, but basically it was this idea of everybody gets a card. Everybody has the same card. It looks like a bingo card, except for one person doesn't. They just have a thing that says, like, you're the whatever. And then you roll some dice and you got to pick a thing. And then everybody has to say a word that relates to something on the bingo card. But obviously the person who's the whatever, the weasel or whatever it is, like they can't see what it is, so they have to make something up, and you have to try and catch them. Mm-hmm. And the first time I played this was not the first time meeting, but the first time spending any real time with my fiance's family. And let me tell you, maybe not the best skill to show that you're exceptionally good at. Chameleon. Yes, it is chameleon. Thank you, chat. Maybe not the best skill when you're meeting your fiance's family for the first time to be like, I'm an excellent liar. If I'm lying to you, you will have no idea. I will fool you every time. And that is exactly what happened. I won the game. People were like, I can't tell when John's lying or when he's telling the truth. And I felt very good, and then realized, oh, this is her mom and her dad and her sister and people that maybe should think highly of me and not think first, John, he's an excellent liar.
Now, John, in games, it's better to be honest. Than you're better off being good at that game than lying that you're not good at that game, and hiding it.
Oh, good.
They may hate that. And I know that's a paradoxical situation. Like, do I pretend to be bad at this game and effectively lie to everyone about the fact that I'm a great liar? Or do I lean into lying in this game and then tell people I just lied in the game and then have them wonder and not trust me about other things? And there's no winning that situation, unfortunately.
Well, I tell you what, that was very Bozone, whether you wanted it to be or not. That whole thought right there. It was very Bozone. Like, it's better to lie. It's better to lie in the game as a skill in the game than it is to lie about your skill in the game.
Yeah. That's what drifters do. I'm not good at pool.
That's pretty deep.
Boom, boom, boom. That's what my friend Mike did to me in Hearthstone Battlegrounds, which we might talk about today.
Well, we very well might. I played it, and I'll talk about that. Well, I play it sometimes here and there. As far as I'm concerned, there is no Hearthstone. There is only Battlegrounds. I don't care about anything else in that game. If I'm playing it at all, that's what I play, and I wonder how many other people are like that these days. It feels like a lot.
I am.
Yeah.
I play some of the solo content too.
Yeah.
One more thing, just seeing as we talked about Battlestar Galactica, did you all hear what happened with Michael Hogan?
Yeah, dude, that was awful.
No.
I was reminded again because I was rewatching a bunch of Fargo, and he was great in season 2 early on. Although kind of premonition stuff now, but because he had a stroke in that. But he, it's bad. He hit his head real hard after an event or something, and just hasn't recovered, and brain bleed. And
apparently he's doing better. I donated to help, so I've been getting updates, and apparently he's now responsive and stuff like that. But yeah, it was really bad. That dude's awesome. That dude's in a ton of stuff I like. He's in your favorite Fallout game, Scott. He's the first person you talk to in that.
He helps you do your stats when you meet him. Yeah. No, he's great. I freaking love that dude. And it's nice to see all of his fellow BSG people rally around him. He was apparently well liked on that set because they're all super into it. And what's his name? Edward James almost keeps saying, "Admiral here, we all need to gather around." Like he's kind of even treating it like the show a little bit, but basically rallying people together. And they've done pretty well with that. They're going to cover his very expensive bills, and he's not some rich Hollywood type. He's just a character actor who had a bad accident. So I hope he does better. He's great. All right, let's move on to, just so my final word on Among Us is I feel bad when I play games like that. And it's like a weird thing with me. It's the same reason I can't do Renegade in Mass Effect. It's like that. It's weird. I can't do it. And I know that
cool. You don't have to do that
I
stuff.
know, but it should be a fun like expression of like an alternate human. You know what I mean? Like, here's a chance for me to do stuff I wouldn't do in real life. So I should go Renegade. But then I'll do it once. I go, that felt icky. I'm not going to do it again. So social games like this mess me up.
It's hard at first, but once you receive the rewards of the dark side,
I see.
Then you begin to see why people choose that path. Sorry.
I've always been into this, and I don't know why, because I'm also like Scott. I can't play Renegade and Mass Effect, but like my favorite thing in the world, I would laugh. I'd be in tears laughing in old World of Warcraft raids where they had a mechanic where you would get mind controlled and you could kill your own party. Anytime I managed to take anyone out, I was laughing and laughing. And I'd get in chat and I'd go, I got you. I got you. I wasn't even the one playing the character. I just thought it was the funniest thing. So there's something about these games that get to me. I have a hard time playing the bad guy in those, but like I'm with you, Bo. These deceit games are super fun and very rewarding.
Yeah. That being said, I haven't really ever partaken in the video game versions. Online it's a different dynamic. Maybe it's fine. It's the in-person stuff. And there's an intimacy to a lying game between people. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I know it's crappy, but at the same time,
which lie is the right lie thing? That game you used to play when you were younger. Probably I don't know if you guys did, but it would be like
you just learn about your friends, like what they're capable of. Honestly, like no one's gone through this. Their years on Earth without uttering a single lie. Like a lie is a part of life. Santa Claus is a thing. Like that's it's. I won't go any further, but I can name a few other lies.
There again,
I can name a few other things I think are lies, but we're just gonna leave it there and set it to simmer.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. You were. If this came up a while ago, Bo doesn't. You really disliked. We don't have to talk about it again, but
I don't. Well, okay. Boson there, part 2. Did we talk about it on the show?
We did talk about it. I don't want to because I think there might be a chance it's on in the other room.
Oh, so. Yeah. Santa Claus is great, and don't worry about it. All right, moving on. He's great. Don't worry. He's great, kids.
Sorry, I forget that children listen to the show.
I mean, whether they should or not is a different argument, but sure. They might be. All right. Konami releases Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2 on Good Old Games. I thought I saw 3 on there too. No?
No 3.
Okay.
There were 3 Metal Gear games, but only up to Metal Gear Solid 2.
I thought I saw
Unless 3
this-
was already on there.
What's that
but-
one called? Like Snake Eater or what is it?
Yeah, Snake Eater.
Yeah, the one that's in Vietnam or something. I thought I saw somebody say that, but I think maybe I just saw that there were 3 of these. These are pretty true to the original, especially in the case of Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid. They both look like what they did with slightly better, like it's not all jittery, and it uses some smoothing for textures and stuff, but it's those games. It's those original games. So, nobody has a mouth. Their hands are just
Nobody has
blocks.
eyes. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's got like a big brow that they just shade over the eyes, so no one has eyes in Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, that's true. I have very fond feelings for Metal Gear Solid 2, which I played to completion and loved every second of that, despite the weird, oh, I'm not Snake most of the time thing that happened in that game. I ended up kind of liking that about it. So
yeah,
nothing wrong with Metal Gear 2. Anyway, those are out and available now on Good Old Games. You have to buy pachinko points to buy them. Just kidding. You don't have to do that. That's a Konami joke if you're paying any attention to that. All right. Peter Parker looks very different. And the way he plays on the PS5 is weird. Tell me what this means, John. I haven't heard about this.
So, remember when they announced Miles Morales and we were all confused? We're like, are they going to remake Spider-Man on the PS5? Is this a totally new game? What's going on here? Well, it turns out we now have the answer to that, and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales is its own game. It's smaller than Marvel's Spider-Man, the game that came out on PS4, but they are doing a remastered version of Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS5. Here's where it gets tricky. And this is, again, going back to Sony's going to be Sony and they're going to do their things. The only way to get Marvel's Spider-Man remastered is to buy the Ultimate Edition of Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's not its own individual product. It's not its own thing. You have to buy the Ultimate Edition of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
What if I own Spider-Man already? There's no connection there?
There is no connection. You have to buy this other game separate. Now, if you buy the basic version of Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can spend the money to upgrade to the Ultimate Edition, which gets you the remastered edition.
Okay.
It is a super big mess. It's an incredibly stupid way to release a project.
What are they doing? That's weird. You know what it's like? It's like they went, oh, hey, Nintendo, with your weird limited time only freaking 3 Mario games that in March they're going to pull it digitally. We got a better idea than that even. We're going to really F this. That's stupid. That is stupid.
It's really dumb. The game does look good. It's remastered. But that's the other big story that came out today. They hired a new actor to play and do the facial capture for Peter Parker. So all the scenes, all the cut scenes where you're seeing Peter running around, he looks completely different than how he did on PS4 because it's a completely new facial capture. And he looks like a different guy, which people think he looks more like Tom Holland now.
That's really weird. It's not Tom Holland though, right? It's
not Tom Holland. Different person.
But it's definitely not the original guy. Well, why would that even be? Why not just use his mocap and stuff?
So they said they wanted something that was closer to the voice actor's face because they do facial capture for the voice.
Yeah.
And I guess it's easier to map if you get somebody that looks a little like the voice actor for the face.
And the previous one,
I guess, didn't look anything.
This is weird. That's a weird thing. That's really weird because all we're really talking about, you're talking about a remaster of a game. You shouldn't have to go reshoot all that shit. Like, that's weird. Because nobody else is having that done, right? I mean, none of the other characters are redoing their parts. Are they?
Honestly, well, no. And honestly, to me, it feels like, this will be my tinfoil hat, but it feels like they thought, well, if we do it this way, then we get away with not having to offer people a free upgrade. We can put in this work and we don't have to give them a free upgrade because technically it's just a bonus on this other game.
What if it's the guy that played Peter Parker the first time's in some kind of weird trouble, like he's trying to harass Janice in accounting or whatever, and they're like, "No, get him out of here before this hits the news." New guy.
Story came out that he was flashing his web shooter.
Yeah, Like, what if it's that? I mean, that's really tinfoil hatty because we have zero evidence that that's the case, and I don't want to besmirch that guy. So forget I said it.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think they just said like, hey, it uses the PS5 takes advantage of more capture and more things you can do with a face, and we decided to recapture it, and we needed someone that looked more like the voice actor.
There could be other stuff too. Like there could be issues with that particular person also necessitating that. Like, you know, you take a crappy situation and improve it. You know, it's a remastered version, and for the sequels, maybe they have someone that they feel more confident committing to. I don't know if game devs really come out and talk about that sort of stuff that you would expect from like the NBA or something when people move around and all that. I have to imagine just something like, I would think for that person who landed the Spider-Man role, they'd be wanting to stay on unless there was some kind of problem that they're not going to air publicly.
Yeah. I mean, it could be exactly that too. I mean, he could pop up in Miles Morales. Their story was very tied together in Marvel's Spider-Man. So it could be that they hired somebody else for that game. They couldn't get the likeness rights or whatever. And they were like, well, we're going to have this guy. Let's do it. Let's make it consistent across the game now.
I think offering no upgrade path for PS4 versions owners of the game is a little shitty. Like at the very least do last generation, there was some of that like Black Flag. Here's Black Flag. Okay, cool. It's $49 or whatever. I paid for it. I got it. Hey, you want that on PS4? Pay us $10 and you'll get the upgrade. Like maybe even just something like that would have been nice.
Yeah.
That bums me out. That's too bad.
It's not a great move, and I think the company probably knows it's not a great move. I read the statement and all that. I think they were. I think it was. I suspect it was for whatever reason forced into that situation, and they tried to make something positive out of it, and they're going to take a hit on public perception for a while until the next one comes out.
Yeah, until it comes out and everyone likes it, and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
because that's what we do with video games. Crunch, it's the worst. Oh, this game is so good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's exactly it.
It's what we do as players. We also do this. Talk about games we played this week, and I went down a path. So I should probably explain what happened here. Once in a while, I've done this on the show a few times. You guys remember my Warhammer 40K thing that I ended up doing? My Korean MMO thing I do once in a while. Like I just get fixated on a thing as a genre, and then I go to town on trying to find the best thing that I'm itching for. And lately, it has 100% been open world games, and it started with that playthrough, which is complete now. I did the whole thing, that playthrough of
Mad Max.
No, the dogs one, Sleeping Dogs.
Sleeping Dogs.
So Sleeping Dogs, I tore through that. And really liked it, and then I went, I'm going to go back and finish Mad Max because what the frick? I'm the biggest Mad Max fan I know. I'm going to go finish that game, and I did, and I loved it. I talked about it on the show. It was great. Loved it. Loved every second of it. Then since then, I've been on this hunt for like, what do I want? What's going to scratch this itch? And it was down to a few choices, and I ended up going with Shadow of War, which I'm still playing and loving. It's great. I talked about it last week at length. But part of me was like, man, what I'm gearing up here for, I think, is Cyberpunk. This like open world's freaking cybery hackery bullshit is coming, and I'm ready for it. And so it got me to thinking, well, should I mess about with others I just haven't touched? For example, Watch Dogs 2 I have had since it came out in 2016 or so. Right? Is that right? I think that's right. And just never played it. And Watchdog Legion is coming out, and I shouldn't say I never played it. I played in like the first 10 minutes of it, and then I just put it to the side and just kind of forgot about it. So I jumped in, and this thing ended up free on Epic a while back, and then I think even Uplay, the Uplay client, and even on consoles it was free for a while. Anyway, Watch Dogs 2 is really good. So I played a ton of that since we last talked. And the problem with Watch Dogs 2, it's not their fault because it's really down to earth focused on hackery stuff. Sneaking in, send your little drone in to do a thing, disable that guy, get his stuff and set a trap, use the camera system to find out where to go next. basically just kind of screw the man, and it's a hacker's, it's a hacker's delight or whatever. But your traversal in that game is very normal. It's some fast travel, but then when you're in cars or you're on a motorcycle, it's very GTA that way. You can't really climb up all kinds of stuff. And I went from Shadow of War, where you can climb a mountain in 5 seconds because you got all these wraith abilities. You're just going fling, fling, fling all the way to the top of the cliff and back. I mean, you know how that game goes. It's all about traversal. You're just getting the hell out of there, getting the hell in there. Things get too hairy. There are way too many nemesises around, so you're just like, get out of here, and it takes you 5 seconds, and you're out of there. So I just felt like I was stuck in the mud a little bit in Watch Dogs 2, even though I think the core gameplay is pretty strong.
I watched you play a little bit yesterday, and it made me laugh. So it was funny. All my friends were streaming yesterday.
Yeah.
I tried to support all of them by going between all of your channels very quickly. Because I watched Bo play a game he's going to talk about. I watched Scott play a little Watch Dogs 2. I watched Kyle play some Heroes.
Yeah.
But when I tuned into your channel, Scott, you were driving a cherry picker, and you were driving it into a building, and there were like guards looking out the door at you, and you were just like raising the little cherry picker up to a second-story balcony. I'm not 100% sure what the play was there, but it was very funny to watch.
I was trying to get up top because up top is where the data was I needed to hack and steal, and I couldn't get in that place edgewise. It was killing me. And I finally figured it out, and had nothing to do with the cherry picker. In fact, that cherry picker is just a MacGuffin because you can control vehicles all over the place just with your phone. Or, you can hack a vehicle and make it drive the way you want it to, or explode or whatever. Really cool mechanics, but in this case, this is the first time I'd seen one of these things. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm supposed to use it. So I kept thinking, well, if I raise it up here, can I get on that ledge? And then I'm like driving up over these freaking protesters that are out in front of this building, and it just got dumb real quick. But it's got a lot of fun open world jank. That's a good game. If you guys have it in your hard drives because y'all grabbed it for free and then forgot, it's pretty strong, and it'll prep you for what's coming with Legion. So I put a bunch of hours into that. But then I think I found the thing that actually is scratching the itch I think I have.
Yeah.
And it's, of all things, Just Cause 4.
Oh, you're a fan of that series.
That's a weird place to land.
It is a weird place to land.
I know you like that game more than most.
I do. So Just Cause 2, way back in the day, was great. And 3, I really liked. 4, I avoided because when it landed, it had all kinds of problems technically. People were complaining about all sorts of tearing and textures, and the water was bad and all these issues, which was weird because 3 I thought a kind of a technical marvel. It was a beautiful game. And so I just remember being so bummed out about that. Plus people are like, it's still sort of the same. You're doing the same kind of missions. So they really didn't really take their best shot here or whatever. So I just said, all right, well, fine, I won't play that game. And I like Avalanche Studios. They made the Mad Max games, this particular studio, so I was really excited about, maybe checking back in. But I just let it go. Epic had it for free a few weeks ago. I grabbed it, parked it, and then just forgot about it. Then, on this hunt for a good open world game, I'm like, you know what? Let's spin it up. Let's see what's up. And once again, outside of the hype bubble of the discussion of the people who are mad because their hard drive wouldn't run it, or all the stuff that happens around game releases, all of that gone and removed because the game came out just ahead of 2019. So it's just over a year and a half old. I'm having a blast in that thing. It is so much freaking fun. I forget how fun those tethers are, dude. You tether a guy and you tether a barrel, and the barrel and the guy come smashing together and they explode, and it's fantastic. And that tank over there, I'm going to attach some balloons to it, make it fly away freaking Metal Gear style, like those, what were those called in 5? You'd shoot up the balloon and it would take
you just ballooning people.
Yeah, you have that.
That was a game I was going to recommend you try, seeing as you're doing open world, was get back into Metal Gear Solid 5.
I might. I just don't know if I can deal with all that stuff that's all that head up their ass storytelling. I'm not sure I need it. And maybe that's why Just Cause 4 is working for me, because the story is legitimately stupid and it's meant to be, right? Rico is just this meathead, but he's also kind of charming, and you can fly and jump and parachute, and traversal is a dream in there. So it's scratching those traversal issues or scratches or itches that I have. But at the same time, crazy missions. I got to blow up a million things, figure out how to pull stuff out of other things using the tether system. There's also this new tether thing where I can put, they're basically like jet capable little nodule things that I can, using my tether shooter thing, I can just stick on the back of like a boat, and then that boat will just go brrr, and like crash into some other boat and cause a giant explosion. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous, over the top, fun. It's as fun as it's ever been. I don't know what's wrong with people. It's patched to hell and back, so maybe that's all fixed now, and I just missed the memo. But I'm really having fun in there. I think that's where I'm going to be for a while.
You should also try Saints Row again.
I tried
that remake of the third, or
I tried 4, and I didn't love 4.
4 may have gone a little too far.
4 feels like there's how do I explain 4? I don't even want to try. It's like, it's just too, I don't know how to explain it. It's they're giving me too much power too early. It feels like I just can just jump all over everything, and I don't know.
You got superpowers because you're in the Matrix.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think that's what's bumming me out there. Whereas Saints Row 3 had the ridiculousness and the overtopness, but it was grounded,
But counter to that,
yeah,
Saints Row 4 does have a complete reenactment of the fight between Keith David and Rowdy Roddy Piper, voiced by both of them as they beat each other up when you're in Keith David's nightmare.
That is pretty cool. I guess them leaning into
point to John.
Them leaning
really
into this
dumb.
like whole idiocracy kind of world you're in, maybe just a tiny bit too much. I don't know.
It's definitely too much.
Yeah, it bummed me
There's
out a little bit.
DLC where they show because originally what became Saints Row 4 was going to be DLC called Enter the Dominatrix.
Yeah.
It was going to be an expansion to 3. And
I can see not wanting to play that, like if that wasn't your taste. John, it seems like more your taste. You love the puns.
So you can play what was supposed to be the DLC version of that story in Saints Row 4, and they said you can see the original ending that even internally they went, this is too much. And the original ending for that game was apparently, as the Matrix is being destroyed and you need to get to a portal to get out of there, a bunch of sentient talking velociraptors show up, which you then ride through a city as it disintegrates and falls apart while it plays Everybody Walk the Dinosaur as you go charging out the exit.
That sounds great, but also it sounds in line with what that game is. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's bad because it's not. It's great. It seems like probably it's great. I also don't like the shooting in that game. I wish I had better shooting.
Yeah, it's bad. That's why you just do the wrestling moves. Wrestling was good.
I think that's why I like Just Cause 4, because the shooting's pretty good. Like, it's satisfying and the guns are impactful, and people should give that game a look, especially if you got it free on Epic. Like, there's no reason not to play it. I like it. So,
well, there's a trillion open world games, Scott,
there are there's tons of them, and what I was looking for was something that just this specific thing I was looking for. I think was like, don't give me too much story, don't give me too many cutscenes. Just let me go have a world where there's lots of shit to go get done, and then I'll just go get that stuff done in very creative, whacked out ways. And
that's definitely Just Cause, because I played that game with the sound off.
Did you really?
Yeah, I hated the story. I couldn't stand the talking or anything. I was like, I liked the gameplay, but every time they started talking, I mostly played Just Cause 2. I think that was the first one with the parachute and the tethering, right? It was 2.
Yeah, 2 had that.
So every now and then when I would do Dear Martha's on the show, I would say, my dearest Martha, our comrades. And I'd always say it as comrades. Yeah. I got that from Just Cause 2. There's some lady in that game that's always like, Rico, we must save our comrades. And I'm just like, it bugged the crap out of me, and it has stuck with me forever. But that story I hated so much. I was just like, all right, we're going to just turn it down all the way. We'll leave sound effects up because I want to hear the explosions, and we'll put on a podcast. So.
Yeah, I get that. This game is way, I mean, the acting's way better. I mean, we're on the fourth one here. It's a it's a nice new engine. Like this is a far cry, no pun intended, from the original or even 2, but I'm not seeing the things that people were being negative about. Like if you're a fan of the series, I don't get what they're talking about. I think maybe it just got fixed. So it's fine now. And even Steam, like the old reviews are horrendous and the new reviews are all positive. So I think maybe they just fixed whatever problems they were having, but I'm having fun in it. I'm going to stream some of it. Between that and Shadow of War, I think those kind of are sort of going to be my thing for the next little bit. I did play a little bit of Hades, which we're going to talk about here in a second with John. So let's just do that. So John, Hades is out. It's 1.0. That game is great.
That might be one of the best video games I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love Hades. It's so weird because I've had that game since it got announced and put on Epic.
Yeah.
I bought it. I got in. I played it. I think it was on your recommendation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, this looks like this is going to be a good game. And then I forgot it existed. And I think months went by. And I think I remember asking you at one point, like, hey, Scott, you ever check back in on Hades? Because I love Supergiant Games and I love what they put out. Is that good? You're like, yeah,
didn't it come up because it ended up on Steam or something? And I think that spawned a conversation because we were like, oh, it's finally on Steam. Oh, I wonder how that thing's doing. Sort of.
Yeah, and so now it's at its actual release, and I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a try again, and I loaded it up, and honestly, not a ton has changed, but you can tell that a lot has happened behind the scenes because, man, does that game just feel right. Like, it plays so tight and so perfect to what you want, and it's so fast and frantic, and I was playing right before the show. I was trying to have dinner and I was playing the game at the same time. And it's amazing what one little upgrade will do to change your entire run. Because the first upgrade I got one that said, hey, you will lose 60% of your total health right now. Yeah. So I'm going to go from 50 down to, well, no, I'm going to go from 100 down to 20. That's not 60%. Anyway, so it said 60%. I wound up with 20 health. Somebody else do the math.
So it should be.
So anyway, I wound up with 20 health, which is not a lot in that game.
Yeah.
But the trade-off to that is that whenever I hit somebody, I will steal 2 health from them. So you kind of get this vampire type play style of like, okay, I have less health, but if I get hit, I'm going to refill my health bar. So theoretically, if I'm doing a decent job of dodging, I have a bigger health bar than I would have, even with that extra health.
Right.
And then I proceeded to go on a path where every time I got a Minotaur heart as an upgrade, which gives you 10 additional health on top of it, I was able to get myself up to 60 health through going through various doors and various upgrades. So I got a bunch of Minotaur hearts all in a row, and I balanced it with other upgrades, and I ended up with this weird run where I made it further than I've ever made it in that game. And it's maybe my 5th or 6th attempt through, and I made it to, I think it's called Elysium or something like that. It's like 3 layers up out of the dungeon or something like that. I did so good. And it was one of the most fun runs I've ever had. I was using the sword, which isn't even my favorite weapon. And I was just like, man, one little upgrade decision at the beginning changed the entire way that game felt to me.
Yeah.
And I got to see whole sections that I'd never seen before and different bosses, and it changes the way you fight them. And then, you'll go back in and you'll pick a different weapon. And just from the get-go, by picking a different weapon, that game plays completely differently. If you pick up the bow, you're playing a slower, more methodical game. If you're picking the sword or the fists, you're playing a very fast, action-oriented game. And it's great.
I
love
the
Hades.
gun. I haven't unlocked the gun thing yet. Have you done that yet? Do you have that?
Yeah.
It's gonna
I
take a while.
only just got the fists to show up. I don't have the keys for it yet.
Yeah.
But man, that game is cool, and it's beautiful, and it sounds great, and every voice actor in there is just loud and awesome sounding. Hades sounds great.
The way they
Yeah.
drop story over time in a roguelike is it's crazy good that way.
And acknowledge what you did. Like, that's the thing, is I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, well, let's go see. I'm sure they have some canned dialogue for me, and they're like, oh, you made it to the so-and-so at this stage. Yeah, that's probably a pretty rough one for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, at least you made it further than you ever had before.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they seem to know all sorts of stuff. Or I got an upgrade from Ares, and he's like, did you know you've killed over 100 creatures down here already? Yes, I'm counting. I'm keeping track, and I'm very proud of you. And I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, see, the narrative tricks in the game are really neat. It's a very cool thing. It's one of those games I would actually worry, given how hard Bo went into Dead Cells that one time.
Yeah.
I would hesitate to recommend Hades because
I already owned it. I bought it in early access and never played it. So I've already been warned about this game from other people.
It's very good.
And it's just, I installed it, and it will be streamed at some point.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because it is definitely one of those. The problem is you get back to the castle, and it uses an autosave feature when you go into new rooms. And so the castle is like several rooms, and there's like a flow. You know, you get your little story bits if you want it, and lore bits, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to purchase my upgrades and things like that. And then you get to the weapon room where you pick what weapon you want for your next run, and you're like, okay, I should quit there. And then you look at the save, and it's like, hey, the last autosave was about 2 or 3 minutes ago. And you go, well, if I quit right now, I lose everything that I just did. Okay, I'll start the run. I'll go through the window. That'll save. I'll start the run, and I'll be fine. So you start the run, and then you're like, well, okay, let's just see what this weapon does. You just kill a couple things, and then next thing you know, you've played for another hour.
Yeah, that's how they get you, man. That's how they get you.
It goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's very, very good. It's a hell of a game, and they deserve all the praise they're getting. I think I'm comfortable in saying it's the best Supergiant Games game they've made. And I really, really like their first game. What's it called? My brain just went dead. Bastion. Bastion's amazing for lots and lots of reasons, but as far as like just a complete full package, this just really sings to me. It's very good.
Yeah.
All right, what else here? Oh, you got the Super Mario Brothers All-Stars 3D thing. Boy, good thing you got it under the window of March of next year before they take it away.
Had to get it before they take it out of stores. Yeah, that thing's kind of garbage. I kind of wish I hadn't bought it.
Wow.
Look, here's the thing. Those Mario games are great.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take anything away from that, but they didn't give those games anything, which I think is really unfortunate. Super Mario 64 plays windowed. They didn't do anything to up-res it. It still does. They didn't give any new camera controls or anything. Like, Super Mario 64 is always going to be a great game.
Yeah.
And Super Mario Sunshine is always going to be an okay game.
I like Sunshine.
And Super Mario Galaxy is still going to be a phenomenal game. But they are so obviously ports that have had zero love and attention given to them in being ported over that it's just annoying. Like, there's no way to change your controls in Sunshine. I know a lot of people are making a big to-do about that. I happen to be among them. I think it controls real bad. And then you get over to, and I'm playing on a Switch Lite, so, maybe that's my fault, but I went and played Galaxy because I'm like, man, I loved Galaxy. And then it's like, hold this button and then tap the screen because we got to simulate the stupid freaking Wiimote. And it's like, I don't want to.
Oh,
I want you to make this game for the Switch Lite so I can play it with a controller.
Yeah. 100% on that. That drives me crazy that they didn't even give that, they thought that was it's not even an important part of the gameplay. That was just like for your buddy to play with you and collect all your shit. Like, it's already so these are,
they're fine. They're those Mario games. If you want to be able to play them on your Switch, it's an overpriced way to get those games.
Yeah.
And I have slight buyer's remorse because I don't know if I needed to spend quite that much to get them, but there they are.
There they are. I would have preferred like $15 a pop. Let me download Galaxy and not care about the others, or just download Sunshine and not care, or you know what I mean? Like, just make these games a thing I can buy, and no all this like, oh, gotta have all 3 in the one package and only gonna have it for a limited time. Like, this stuff's just weird. It's freaking weird.
I mean, odds are you know whether or not you like those Mario games. Yeah. So ask yourself if you would pay $60 for literal ports of those games. Keep that in the back of your mind.
Yep.
100% ports. And if the answer is yes, then go out and get it, and you'll be fine with it. I don't know if I was in that boat. I think I kind of got suckered by the false limited time. I mean, the real limited time, because they are removing it, but you know, the false scarcity of it. And I went, well, I got to get it. I'd probably rather have it than not. So I'm dealing with buyer's remorse.
I feel you on that. That's too bad. They'd have me with like a 3D Zelda compilation though. Like if they said, hey, we're going to put Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess together, I'd get that. I'd get the hell out of that.
What would they do for Skyward Sword? Because that was that Wii Motion Plus bullshit.
Yeah, dude. What would they do?
That's the problem. Like, I love Nintendo. I'm not trying to shit on Nintendo, but their innovation definitely time locks some of their content.
Yeah.
Because you look at Skyward Sword, and it's like, if you played that game, you know, you either liked it or you didn't like it in the time. But if they ever port that game or take it somewhere and you're not playing it in the idealized gimmick way that they wanted you to, you've lost it. That lightning is no longer in the bottle. It's a different game now and a different experience at this point.
Yeah. I the way I'd look at it would be, hey, Nintendo, you know what? I just want I got it. I just want to play Wind Waker again, really. That's what I want. That's what I'm asking for. Just put that out again. You put it on the Wii U. You 1080p'd it. Just do that again. Just do that. I don't care about the other stuff. Just get that. What else? Spelunky 2. My finger's been hovering for a long time, but I'm a little nervous because I played so much Spelunky 1, like to death, and I owned it on my Vita, PC, somewhere else. I can't remember what other thing I had it on. I could not get enough of Spelunky 1. I'm worried that I've played so much of it and that Spelunky 2 is so much more of it that I'll regret getting it. Even though, by all accounts, it's great Spelunky. So I don't know what to do there. So convince me one way or the other.
Yeah, you should get it. It's more... I haven't played that much of it. I did one run. I died from a roly-poly lizard, as that happens, because I shattered a jar that summoned the ghost from the first Spelunky by me shattering it. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, trying to get away from him. And then I got hit by, you know, that's the game that is the most, if you panic and you run, you're just going to die. Like, as soon as you're panic running, that's it. Your run's over. You just don't realize it yet.
Right.
And, but no, that game's great. It's cool. It's very familiar. Again, I didn't make it very far. I made it about 3 rooms into the game so far. But I saved a dog, a little pug. I saved him, and he gave me a kiss, and I got some health back because of it. And I rode on a turkey, which here's how I know how I can market it to Scott. Scott, there are turkeys in this game that you can ride on. Whoa. And when you ride on them, they kind of control like Joust.
Oh, like jump on heads and your enemy shits an egg, or how's it work?
you kind of do some flapping business with them when they run around and jump on them.
Oh, I do like Joust. Yeah, I'll probably get it. What, $17? I should just get it.
Yeah, it's on sale right now for it's good.
I mean,
Spelunky's great.
Spelunky's one of the greatest video games ever made. I just don't want to find myself going, oh yeah, do I really want to do more and more and more and more? You know, because I kind of have this feeling a little bit with Rogue Legacy. I picked it up, but I'm not having a huge bunch of desire. Part of that's because it's an early access and I just kind of wanted to be done with it. But part of me is just like, I did so much of that first game. Yeah. And they're asking me to kind of do with some changes. They're asking me to do a bunch of this other stuff. I don't know. Once again, I'm frozen on that one. I don't know what to do. I'll figure it out. Bo,
I think buy it.
Okay,
throw it in the cart.
Supposed to let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Because you were frozen.
Oh, I get it because of the frozen
Yeah.
part. I get it now.
Yeah.
Hey, Bo, tell us about finishing Banner Saga 2, and are you ready to play 3?
I am absolutely ready to play 3. It definitely feels like just a full game split into 3 parts.
Yeah.
It was very emotional at the end, and it's quite good. And I've been poorly voice acting the whole thing, so that's also just been fun. I'm actually sad for the day where there'll be voice acting again in the games I play, because I actually kind of dig, for the small amount of people who also have this particular interest in watching me do it. I do it, and I also do it bad because the microphone is turned down way low. But anyways, it's I thoroughly recommend it. I mean, I don't think the combat system is for everyone, or I don't think Oregon Trail Light, because I find it forgiving, but I may be playing the game well, so I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience playing those types of games, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
Well,
And it's a story matters kind of game. Like, story's it's a good fantasy story.
Did you do full you full stream that whole thing, right? Everybody's been watching you do that.
Yeah, I haven't. If I'm playing it, I'm streaming it. I haven't played it off stream, so it's all documented on my new Twitch channel. That's right, everyone. By the way, announcement. Do you have an announcement sound? Something like that.
I might.
Anyways.
Hold on.
I mean, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Let's do
China.
I don't want that. No, that sucks. Hold on.
Hello, China.
No, it's another China one. All right.
I like to imagine Scott always opens the China folder every time we do core, because I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Well, I hear China a lot.
All right, here we go.
Barry,
there you go. There's your announcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry for making you do that. Wait, what was I? I got so distracted by. My Twitch channel has a new name.
Oh,
I'm no longer Gorath.
Oh, did you?
I'm
change
no longer
the...
G0R4TH.
Is it a new
That's
channel,
right.
or did you change the existing channel?
No, it's the same channel. I just changed my name.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
I've been waiting for the regular spelling of Gorath forever, and I kind of getting sick of it. And I've been watching the intro that John and I made for my channel. John wrote and voice acted the thing, and I've listened to it so many times that I kind of was like, yeah, this is stupid. Because I've streamed, I streamed for basically 12 days straight, or I'm like on a run right now. I think I didn't stream Monday, so it isn't straight, but I've been online a lot, and I've watched that video a lot. So I was like, you know what, let's try and no one's looking for Gorath. It's like I don't play Heroes as much. I'm not using the IGN as often. I was like, I think people know me as Bo. So I was like, change my name to Bo Schwartz. So if you can't find it, or you're wondering who Bo Schwartz is, welcome to the core.
That's great, though.
But yeah, it's I changed the name. So now John has already, spoiler alert, written a pretty good replacement.
it already exists. He told. I found
it was
this
within
out.
seconds. You got a new name? Wait a second.
I was like, hold on, I'll write you a new thing right now, and I did.
Yeah. So I'm very grateful. So thank you, John, because those are I think that is the best part of my channel. Was your work on the introductory video. It's very self-effacing. I like roasting myself. It's fun. So I like having people roast me, which John does quite well.
Oh, he's a good roaster.
Yeah.
He's a top roaster. Anyways,
new channel. Also, while we're talking about my stream channel instead of games, so it's just shameless self-promotion kind of. I don't know. I have a birthday coming up. And I know I'm pretty grinchy about birthdays. Yeah. But we're in COVID mode, and if anything, I've been more desirous to hang out with people. And in Canada, there's a resurgence of cases, so everyone's running for the hills. So I'm pretty much not spending my birthday with anyone because it's on a weekday and other family members are working. We're going to do it another time. So I decided I'm going to have a birthday stream. And you're all invited.
Yay!
It's just on October 9th. Watch for your notifications when I go live. You want to swing by and wish me happy birthday. That's great. I don't have any details. I'm terrible at planning things, so I have no idea what's going to happen. But I was thinking maybe I'd just do a birthday cake and, we can all sing happy birthday or something.
That's a great idea.
I'm going to make a party for myself.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
It's sort of what I'm doing, and maybe like we'll all get on a Discord channel, and you know how I like to sing in Discord with everyone else in the channel. Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that or something ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite times. The things that ever happened was when Bo sang on a Discord
and
channel.
we'll play video games.
Yeah, and play video games. That's fantastic. Well, happy early birthday, and we'll do it again when it happens. And then you've been playing Rocksmith. How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to call it. It's hard to call it a game. Like, I think it qualifies, but I'm just practicing. But like, it's going good. It's a great program, and I feel like I'm still a little bit out on if I can stream it on Twitch. I wonder if somebody actually knows the answer, because like the official Ubisoft channel was streaming. So I took that as like, okay, well, if they're on, Ubisoft must have communicated with Twitch on some level, and this is allowed. But some of my music does get blocked on the VODs, and I know like Twitch like deals with it. So it's just like there's this weird space there, because it's fun watching people play guitar and you playing. Like, this should be a part of Twitch too, but that's all the copyright stuff, which I understand. They need to protect their IP.
Yeah.
They do,
but if somebody's playing Rocksmith on freaking, all this will do is drive sales of the music and Rocksmith.
I think it's okay. I think what they've done at a certain point, because when the game was released, Twitch wasn't as much of a factor. I think going forward, any contracts they do for music includes the right for people to stream it to help promote the product.
Right.
But the early songs on there will get blocked and stuff. So
sure.
I don't know. That's a little stressful, because I don't want to get my channel gone.
I got a takedown notice on YouTube once for singing. Actually, it was the Frozen theme, or the Frozen song. Let it go, let it go. And I was just screwing around, and I got a takedown notice.
Oh, well, you're just doing too good.
I fought it. There was no music playing. It was just me singing a line of the whatever from the song, and I fought it, and they accepted my whatever you call it, my challenge, and it went away.
Well, I'm glad. That seems. Was it a robot that found it, or was it a report?
No, it was some place. Well, I mean, who knows? Some of the stuff was bots, but it was some place in Europe, and they're all acting
Seems like a robot wouldn't pick that up, would it?
Well,
do you sound that much like the song?
But also, why a place in Europe and not Disney itself? Like, it was weird. I think that was just some scammy business. But they still did it.
Flagged for playing a Star Wars game, because Star Wars music plays during a Star Wars game. Imagine that.
Yeah. You know what other one I got busted for once, or got nailed on, was Fallout 4.
Yep.
And anytime the little radio played the old-timey 1915 song that used to be 100% copyright free because they let it lapse and it's ancient, but because it's in that game, somebody now owns the rights to it, and it kept giving takedown notices for that. So stupid.
It's tough question to reconcile, because like, if someone does hold the rights to it, whether it's in a game or somewhere else, and that explicit permission wasn't there, then
but somebody,
you know what I mean? Like,
if you're playing that song that I just set the world on fire, that thing, if that, who's worried about it? Like, who is going, oh my gosh, you're playing that, people will go buy that by droves? No, they won't. It's a song from 1913. Nobody gives a shit.
Send the guy who spoke all the lyrics from the Ink Spots music after you, and he's just going to be like, well, now, I don't think you should listen to this music. I'm just going to set a big old flame in your heart.
Stuff's complicated.
I wonder if game developers are considering that more when they make games now. Just stuff like that, right? Putting third-party assets into games, knowing that streaming games is a big part of the marketing for any game.
Yeah, imagine if Alone Together, or whatever the hell it's called. What's it called? Among Us. Alone Together. Among Us. What if it had this like great, punk soundtrack, and they're like, oh shoot, we shouldn't have done that because now nobody can stream our game. I guess that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's real dumb.
I think it's a generational thing. I think as music, like people making music these days get older and Twitch is there, I don't think you'll have as much hangups as we do from people who were successful or well known when we all had cassettes and CDs and stuff.
Yeah,
and
but
like, what is this Twitch? Who's that guy that was super dead again? Lars Ulrich or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Guy,
the
but
voice
like,
you're doing is a Dragon Ball Z character, but I don't think that's who you mean.
No, yeah, Lars Ulrich was the whole MP or Napster bad
Napster guy.
Yeah, that whole thing.
So
he can still play a mean pair of drums. We saw him at concert last
great
month.
guy, just wrong about all this.
He was wrong.
I understand why he's.
I just don't think they should go back to somewhere it's like, hey, good looking across the room in the 20s. Like, nobody's buying that shit. It's not a thing I can go buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. No one cares about this song.
No.
It's just providing nice atmosphere in it. And like when I say no one cares, I mean there's no financial interest behind it, really. You know,
until the game comes out, and then people are like, "Oh, I kind of dig this song," and then it becomes, but because of the game,
right? The game is actually serving this purpose of driving the interest, and if you take it out of the place where people would hear it to drive the interest, then what are you doing?
It's like I don't remember who it was, but someone from Styx said nobody gave a shit about our music until that fat kid in South Park sang it.
That is a true statement. I didn't know that, but it feels true.
That's great. That's great.
I didn't give a crap.
That happens
on South Park.
Like Queen keeps having this happen to them every time Bohemian Rhapsody gets co-opted by something and then goes huge again. And like the Mike Myers movie,
Wayne's World. I don't know why I said it that way.
You said it so weird. Wayne's World.
I don't know why I said it that way. Even as I was saying it, my brain was going, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, no, like whenever that happens, the huge interest in the thing, and then a bunch of people buy. I don't know. The music industry is still just, they're all weird. They don't. We've come a long way, but we got a long way to go. All right. Hey, guess what we got today? We got a mashup to play because I forgot to play it last week. And I promised Jamie it was going to play tonight. So here it is. Jamie putting together a mashup for Core. Here's Dumb Stuff We've Said. It's called Reverse Kidnapper, which sounds dirty. Enjoy.
Let's not get into it.
No, you went hard. I like it when you go hard. That sounds terrible.
Gigabit internet installed.
I could see myself with this just in bed at night, cranking off,
Uh-huh.
Ready, how's it going? I got your kid. That'd be reverse.
All right, everybody listen up. I couldn't get this voice changer to work. We still got your kid.
I got your kid. Bring the money. I'm going to France to have sex for a while.
I mean, it is France. All right. Are we getting it on?
Hey, everybody.
I'm Benjamin Franklin, and my fellow Americans, have you heard of bukkake?
If you're able to master and beat a game, are you master beating?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't beat a lot of games as a kid, so I was not a great master beater, but, I feel like I got the concepts down.
It's like what the gentleman at Blizzard's name. Oh my God, what's his name?
Sean Bean.
Frickin' no, the new Mike Morheim. Frickin' what's his name?
Terrence.
I know his name. Terrence Malick.
Strap on.
No.
Put your wiener in the socket and hold on tight.
Ferrant de Luttenhove, the royal instigator of crack.
Oh, Carrick.
Oh, Carrick, yeah.
It reads like crack.
I'm the instigator of crack. That guy can eat a giant penis. He can die.
Or a vagina, let's be inclusive.
Oh, he could eat it. Yeah, he could totally eat a vagina. Whole. He just eat the whole
giant one.
Yeah, big giant vagina, one bite. But what I'm saying is like there's this one choke
Vagina
point.
One Bite is my new.
That's my favorite anime now.
Oh, you on some of the grandma's whatever bread? And I'll go like that. And she just gets super nauseous and gags from it.
Grandma's whatever bread. Is that a drug?
Speaking of drugs, is Bo's voice all low to you, or is it just me?
Yeah, Bo's
Oh,
voice
do
is
I have
low.
the reverse kidnapper?
Oh, hi, guys.
That's weird, man.
I want $1 million in unmarked bills delivered to the locker at the airport.
That's so weird.
No
Yeah.
police.
This is good.
This is
is
really
good.
weird,
You
man.
should just keep it. You're like a whole different person.
Yeah.
I'm one of your neighbors. Don't try to guess which one. You'll never figure it out. But I'm the one that took a shit in your pool. Learn to pick up your garbage and learn to tell your kids to shut up once in a while.
This is so weird. So this is how we sounded when this was going
If you don't
on.
fix it, I'll shit again in your pool.
What
are we doing?
That's so great. You don't even remember any of it, right? I don't. I don't remember.
No,
any of
what
that.
are we doing?
Yeah, what are we even doing? What is this? What do we call? What is it?
That was
What is
great.
this even that we're
This
doing?
is our video game show. We talk about video games.
That was unreal. Well
I think
done.
this-
Well done, Jamie. Those are amazing. I love these. So keep them coming, man. I'll keep giving you. Well, some of it comes in our bonus stuff, right? Because I give him that file every week, so he gets like stuff pre-show, post-show, during the show. Like it's a cavalcade of content, as we know. All right, here's this.
That's a good question.
Time to talk to the core. That's talktothecore@gmail.com is our email address. Talktothecore @gmail.com. A quick question from Caleb, who wrote in and says, how much do you guys figure you've spent over your lifetime on video games? Is there even a way to guess? Just wondering. Caleb. I have no freaking idea.
No clue.
You know what? I've never thought of this, and I don't know why I haven't before, because that's an interesting question.
I mean, I know that
$10,000?
it ramped up when I started doing what I do. When I started content creation, podcasting, all that, it went up because it then became part of the work. So I know that that's true. But also lately, it's a lot of codes and free stuff. So I don't know how to gauge it. Like, excuse me.
Is that counting everything like subscriptions, $200 game passes to MMOs, golden guns?
Yeah.
Like, what are we counting?
My lifetime subscription to Star Trek Online definitely counts.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was what, 200?
I don't know. But you know what? It's not. It's about the hours I spent in the wonderful world of Starfleet, Scott. It's
Which
not
was
about
how many hours?
Money doesn't exist in Star Trek Online. We've moved beyond it.
Well, there's Gold Press Latinum in the DS9 era.
Oh, I love Gold Press Latinum.
I do too. But hold on a minute though. If you paid $200, do you know how much time you spend that game? Like how many hours? I'm
Barely any. I played it mostly during the beta, the free beta.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this game so much. I'm going to play this game forever. This is going to be the greatest MMO that ever lived.
Yeah.
Yes, I want a lifetime subscription. And then the game actually came out and I didn't play it.
Wow. I mean, if I'm guessing lifetime, it's probably like, that's what, like 15, 20,000?
That's
I don't know. I think that's low on the
that's
low
probably
end.
low.
So I'm looking at what I'm doing right now. I went to my Steam account, looked at my transaction history, and I'm just going to do only my Steam account.
Okay.
Because that's been around for a while, and just see what that is. It's
Okay.
assuredly a lot more than what's here.
Okay.
It doesn't let me download the data as a CSV file, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But I'm copy pasting it. And hopefully, I can just import it real quick. Okay, and let's do it. It'll just be a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna...
Steam says I have 19.3 hours in Star Trek Online.
Oh, so you pay? Okay, well we can do the math on that.
I just need a
19
Let's
hours.
round it up to 20.
Okay,
Let's call
so-
it an even 20.
So 20 hours. We're gonna divide $200. Divide that by 19 or 20. You said. So that's easy. That's 10. So that's 10. You paid $10 an hour to play that game.
That's a steal.
Is it?
That's a ripoff. That's a horrible deal. I wouldn't pay
Look,
$10
I played
an hour
a lot
for
in the
any game.
beta, and I might play again. By all accounts, it's very good.
I've heard great things about its current state. It's supposed to be pretty rad right now.
Yeah.
So you should get in there since you got your lifetime deal and you get all the benefits and bonuses for whatever reason they give you now. I don't know what they give you now, but
Yeah, I'm going to have a really good ship. Like, I'm going to probably look cool.
yeah.
Like, I can probably fly an Enterprise if I want.
Yeah, you want to fly? You want to fry an Enterprise? You want to fry one?
I can do whatever I want with it because I'm friggin' rolling in whatever currency it is.
Yeah,
it's probably
that's true.
gems. Probably gems of some kind.
Yeah, you probably got some gems, some kind of sweet boosters. I don't know what they have in there, but you should check just for fun. For an experiment for the show, actually, you should install it and log in and tell us what the hell's going on for
How
lifetime
many Geordie
subscribers.
LaForges can you pay with?
Yeah, and how many
we only
visors?
accept LaForges here.
How many wear visors? How many wear contacts? That's what I want to know. How many
Man,
read
can we talk about how much cooler Geordie LaForge was when he was just Contacts Geordie?
I like contacts, Jordy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was way better.
Well, you got it in two ways. You got it in All Good Things, the two-parter ender, and you got him in the movie, the third movie, First Contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to call it First Contacts because that was the first time he had the blue contacts. So First Contacts.
Yes, First Contacts.
But also, he was in the show in the final two episodes, All Good Things, Part 1 and 2. He had contacts. They just weren't as cool as the movie ones.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that was Geordie's, like, that was his Riker beard. Like, he didn't get it for as long as the Riker beard,
Right.
but, like, that was him evolving to his second form.
Right. That's a little like how long it feels like it took Cisco forever to shave that head and get that goatee going.
Yeah.
To truly become the Cisco we liked.
That's a good point. A lot of Star Trek characters make a change before they become awesome.
Yep. And it's usually a hair thing or a style thing.
What was the moment for Picard? Was it the first time they let him get like a torn uniform and he was like running around and just like
no,
like
I think
less
for him
clothes,
it's
and
when
you were like, oh, Picard can wreck some people.
I think it's when his uniform quit being a unitard and became the stand up and pull it down thing he always did, where he'd be like in the bridge going, "Number one, this is highly irregular," and he'd stand up and go shlook and pull down like that. I think that's when we got it.
Well, do you remember how like early on in that series, it felt like the way they were going, like it almost felt like they were setting Riker up to be the main character, and Picard was just going to be a dude on the bridge.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if they had stuck with that plan?
Oh, it would have been weird. I mean, that's basically what Discovery is. But they're better at it now. But yeah, you're not wrong. Like they were it felt like they were going that way. I'm really glad they didn't though. Because Riker's awesome, but Riker's better. You need him as second in command. That's his job.
Yeah.
And he needs to walk in kind of looking concerned a lot, and he needs to sit on
over
chairs
the top
weird.
Of a chair.
Yeah, sit on chairs weird.
Lean on a data pad.
Yeah.
I'm sure those touch pads don't recognize the human butt.
Become
that never happens. If someone was leaning against the wall in the Enterprise and just went beep and like opened the engineering bay doors.
Yep. Sucked
They're like,
everybody out.
why did you lean on that? Like, they never lean on it. Even when the ship gets hit, they never lean into a panel and accidentally release a whole bunch of, I don't know, tachyon inside the ship. And they're like, oh no!
It'd be hilarious. Captain, we've lost Geordi and 300 crewmen out of the freaking airlock. Well done. But yeah, I was going to say one more thing about Riker, and I forgot what it was. But he got cooler when he got his beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird thing.
Famous video where they did that, where Riker leans against something and it just makes the sound of the data pad going crazy, and then it cuts to an external shot of the Enterprise blowing up.
Oh,
I find that video. It's really good.
Oh, there's a whole series of those. There's like that one where
I found it.
Oh, you found it? No way.
Oh.
Let me see it.
Here we go.
Is it in Discord?
What search terms did you use? What's this picture of Geordi? Oh my god.
Well, he's upset.
Let's see.
I need help in locating.
Can you guys hear that?
Yep.
That's because he's sad on it, dude.
Leak in the engine core. I can't shut it down. I estimate 2 minutes to a warp core breach. All hands abandon ship. All hands abandon.
Well done, Riker. I love how they made it when he's sad. It was like because his butt like spread all over the keys. That's awesome. You haven't? Then that means, have you seen the one? I thought I sent it to you guys where it's bloopers combined with actual scenes, and they're filmed exactly the same quality, so you can't tell.
I have seen that.
I kind of want to take that up as a hobby now.
They're so good. They're so good. There's one where Riker's just being a wackadoo. Oh, I gotta find it. All right, I'll find it.
All right, while you find that, I have my account value, my Steam account value.
What do you got?
Kinda. So this includes every purchase since I joined, made an account, and bought Borderlands 1 in 2010.
That was your first. Wow.
That was my first purchase.
All
right. The number's a little off because I sell those dumb trading cards. Like if I want to buy a DLC that's on sale for $2, I'll be like, whatever, and I'll go sell cards until I can get the DLC. So it's actually a little less because I probably sold a lot of cards over the years. My account value is $8,222.96. That is how much money I have taken out of my pocket and given to Valve Corp.
How did you do that?
So as you can see, I'm pretty invested in the Steam environment. So when I'm dumpstering Epic, that's that is part of my bias for sure.
But how did you do that?
What do you mean?
How did you get that number? What did you use? Is there any utility?
It was a bit of a pain in the butt, but basically, if you go to Steam and go to the menu at the top and go to settings, open your settings, and the first tab in settings is account is the left-hand tab, and you go on that on the way to the right, a little text link says view account details. And when you click that, it takes you back to the main Steam user interface. And on this main account details page, you will see a button right next to your wallet balance on the right, view purchase history. And there you'll be taken to a list. Looks like a table. You'll need to load more transactions, and then it'll load everything that you've ever purchased. At least that's what it did for me.
Yeah.
I copy pasted this, put it into Excel. I did a replace to because it's all they unfortunately put CDN in there and a $sign and credit.
Yeah.
I did a replace to take all the CDN and USDs out. That's the currency type and the word credit, and then switched the cells to number and did a sum.
And you did all that while we were talking about freaking whatever dumb thing John and I were talking about. You're a genius.
No, I know. It's just I've worked with Excel. Excel is the master program out of all programs. It's not your C++, IDE or whatever. It's like Excel. Excel is the closest we'll reach to godliness.
How many games is that then? What's the total titles?
Okay. Well, I have 520 rows, so 519. But that also includes all my sales of cards. That's an inaccurate number. I think I can just go to my Steam library. It tells me. I think
the Steam library will
range.
tell you. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask that is because I know what mine is. I'm tickling 2,000.
Oh, I'm nowhere near that.
And I've got a lot of games on Steam, and admittedly, many were codes and free, and I didn't pay for them. But I'd still love to know what the value of all that is. I guess I could try to figure that out.
So I've got a number for the number of games I have. Not quite. I'm just estimating because they're sorted into categories a bit, but it's hang on. So 582 plus 15, that's 5. So 597 items in my list. I assume that some of them are a small amount would be applications from the software tab. And like those little weird things they install, like you know what I'm talking about, like the VR package driver loader thinger, and you're just like, okay, hide like a Age of Chivalry dedicated server. Like it's not the game, it's just some server that they have also that you can put on there. So roughly 500 to 600 games for me. So if you take, that's about 25% of your list. Let's just round it to 500.
Okay.
So 8,000 times 4, $32,000 is your account value roughly. I would guess.
That can't be right.
I mean, it can vary a lot depending on the kinds of things you bought. The prices range, but
look at Satan Slurpee found a thing that does this very thing. You have to put in
Satan
your Steam.
Slurpee just keeps delivering. Wow.
Yeah, so you're great, dude. Slurpee or not. Okay, so I have to put
Assuming I'm reading this right, it looks like I've spent $1,200 on Steam.
Okay, well that's
not
bad. That's nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misread. $12,000.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds
It
more
got
like it.
considerable. I was like, this isn't bad. And then I thought, that can't possibly be correct.
Yeah, that's
And then it got more correct, and now I'm sad.
All right, okay, steamcalculator.com will tell you how much your account is worth. Oh, I don't want to go get
My account is set to private. So
Actually, I wonder if this is actually accurate, because according to this would mean the orange box was my first purchase in Steam, and I don't know if that's true.
Well, my first purchase is Half-Life 1, and I bought it way back when Steam was new. So it's been that long for me. According to this, oh geez, this is scary what I'm about to do, you guys. I'm scared. Okay, so
yeah, no, this is important. It's important work.
This is important work. Okay, so wait, how do you sort by recent? Okay, so I want to see what the most oldest effing game is ever on here. Oh, that can't be right. Blacklight Retribution. There's no way that's my most recent or most old. Okay, well, that's if they're installed. Okay, well, this is confusing.
Well, I mean, you may have done the same thing I did, Scott, because my guess is you owned Half-Life 1 before Steam came out. You probably just put your code in.
I probably did.
This is a little weirdly inaccurate because I've loaded mine up now and it says $5,663, but my direct pull of data from there using Excel.
Yeah.
It also because a figure also accounts for things I've sold, so it's actually higher if we're just counting purchases.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I can't tell either. I'll have to fiddle with this later, but it seems like a bad idea. We'll see.
You know what the problem with this is? I know what it is.
What's that?
They're looking at games. I don't see any DLC on here.
Oh, no no DLC.
That's so pretty telling that this tells me 5,600 and I've spent 82. So it's about $3,000 of DLC purchases.
That's interesting.
And
That
so
track
so
that
no
either.
mystery why DLC is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, well, there's that. What else? Well, we read the email, so that's it. That's the show. Hey, look at that. We did it, everybody. We made a show, and it's been fun to be here. If you like what you heard, and you're like, man, I'd sure like support those chuckleheads. I really like their show. Well, you can do it at patreon.com/core show. That's a place to put your money. Don't buy another piece of DLC. Come help us out. Learn all about it and find out if it's for you at patreon.com/core show. And you can find everything you need to know about this show at frogpants.com/core show. Nope, just /core. I screwed that up. frogpants.com/core. Core Pod is our Twitter account. John_Jagger. I'm at Scott Johnson. Bo is at Bo Schwartz. And we record every Wednesday night at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. 5 p.m. Gosh dang it, I can't get anything right. 5 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 4 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Eastern if you'd like to check in. And that's okay. We love you guys in the middle of the country as well. So check us out at 6 p.m. there. I think that's going to do it. Let's get some words of wisdom out of John first. John, anything you want to say before we go?
Yes, don't look up your Steam spending history. It's only a path to darkness.
I like that advice. Bo, anything to add?
Just an expression I've been repeating to myself today for some unrelated reason. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Oh, I think before is the way to say it, but it's fine. You can totally do it that way.
What? Sorry? Oh,
I thought it was before. I do never have loved before, right? Or is it at all? I don't know.
It might be before. I'm not quoting it exactly. It's through the Bo filter.
Coming after next week's Bozone, the Bo filter.
Ed, not checking me on my Shakespeare. Damn, I gotta.
Yeah, you don't want me doing that. Trust me. Definitely don't want me doing that. All right, there you go, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. Play whatever games you want to, or don't. We'll see you then. This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
Oh, maybe our words of wisdom. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
We're still in trouble.